ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This segment of the news is brought to you by BTC, powered by Lime.
Another round of consultations is about to take place in relation to gaming. Prime Minister Perry Christie told reporters yesterday the group will advise the government on the way forward regardless of the outcome of the referendum. Good night, everyone. I'm Keishla Adderley.
And I'm Candino Knowles. Well, Jiminy Swain tells us that the Prime Minister is explaining the government's role and responding to the never-ending commentary on the matter, the most recent of which coming from the opposition leader.
The referendum on gaming is shaping up to be a costly process, but Prime Minister Perry Christie says it must be done. The government has retained another group of consultants to assist it in formulating a plan to regulate the gaming industry, whether the vote is yes or no on the proposed questions.
I have coming into the Bahamas next week, okay, a team from halfway around the world of people who we have retained to assist us with both the yes and the no vote, because we have to prepare for both eventualities. And so you will find, and I will make the announcement, right, that when this team they'll be meeting with me, they'll be reviewing the laws, we'll be making preparations. This is a team other than the English advisors now, but specially selected for their expertise in dealing with matters of this kind. And I said before, it's going to be a very expensive operation.
Prime Minister Christie also lashed out at opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis, accusing him of politicizing the issue and suggesting that he's working in the interest of web shop owners.
The FNM is shamelessly trying to exploit this for political advantage. They are going to find out again the hard way there is no political advantage for them. For anyone, including the leader of the opposition, to try to exploit that by saying I'm condoning illegality has to be horrendously mistaken, right, and really reaching proportions.
He also says for anyone thinking that illegal gaming will continue in the face of a no vote, think again. This is he answered queries about a post-referendum gaming system.
There are people who I'm advised who believe that if they vote no, they're able to continue gambling at home in private, and I think it's going to be very difficult for them. And if they are going to vote no for that reason, I understand some of them voting no because they feel with government taxing it, if there's a yes vote, they won't get as much money on the payout. They are mistaken about all of these things.
Prime Minister Christie says he will be marking his X in the upcoming referendum in the advanced poll. Jiminy Swain, ZNS Network News.
The Yes Vote camp says it has a pretty good idea of how the votes will be cast on two gaming referendum questions. One of the Vote Yes organizers, Philip Galanis, told us while using the final few days to convince the electorate that gaming should be legal for Bahamians, they've also been weighing the appeal of the web gaming and national lottery systems and how that's related to the proposal to offer shares.
It has also shown that there are a number of persons who prefer to vote yes for the national lottery over the web shops. And one of the things that we recognize, the reason for that is that a lot of people believe that there are only going to be a few beneficiaries of the yes vote for the web shops. Well, I think we've been able to dispel that myth and misconception by virtue of indicating that unanimously the web shop owners, the industry, have indicated that they're prepared to offer shares to the public, and we're talking about a substantial number of shares on the order of what was done for Cable Bahamas, Commonwealth Brewery, and more recently Port Development Group. So I think that Bahamians understand what it means to own shares, and that they can participate in the industry. I think will help them to understand, help them to support the yes vote for the web shops.
As for voter turnout, Mr. Galanis predicts about 60% of the electorate will participate in the poll. Meantime, while interests from both sides of the political divide have taken yes and no positions, Mr. Galanis feels that the issue has been unduly politicized by some. He's taken issue with opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis, who he says has done just that.
We're very disappointed by the decision and the announcement recently by the Free National Movement that they have decided to encourage people to vote no, that they have effectively taken a political position, that they have brought it into the public domain, and not only by virtue of saying that person should vote no, but by saying that the process is flawed, and by indicating that the yes vote or the web shop operators are really being paid back by the government for various things, including campaign financing. The unfortunate thing about that is that now the government is going to, I hope the government, and I think the government ought to respond to those kinds of accusations which are unfounded.
Can you guess who will be the new faces of the country's new tourism ad campaigns? Well, officials from the Ministry of Tourism made the major announcement today on Children's Key Exuma. Our Janae Noel Ferguson was there.
Big international names like Rick Fox and Shakara will be the new face of the Ministry of Tourism's ad campaign, according to Minister Obi Wilshcombe. This is the first in the country promoting all that the Bahama Islands has to offer.
We're telling the world that we are Bahamians. We're proud of our people. We have lots to tell the world about the country that we have, and with our people, we're able to build our country collectively.
Production for the new ads featuring Fox and Shakara were being filmed on Children's Bay Key in Exuma, and according to Wilshcombe, those ads may debut during Super Bowl next month at a price tag of around $4 million. But Wilshcombe hopes to add even more star power to the list.
We do have a permanent, an investor in the Bahamas who's also a part of this campaign, because we want to show that component as well, that you can come, be a part of the Bahamian people, but you can also come, be an investor, and enjoy our country. And I think over the next couple of days, David Copperfield is going to be shooting Mushaki. He's the owner of Mushaki. He's also a part of our campaign because he's an investor in the Bahamas. We're showing the various aspects and components of our wonderful country. Insofar as Bahamians are concerned, yes, we do have 3 more Bahamians that will be announced as time draws near.
Now, it was initially estimated that the new ad campaign would have a price tag of $15 million, but Wilshcombe says that number will increase. Meanwhile, Shakara and Fox believe that the promotion will be well worth it, and they're encouraging other Bahamian superstars to promote their home country.
No matter where you are, don't forget your roots. And we have something so special here that should be shared and should be maximized in the most obviously respectful manner. But don't forget about your roots. Come back, help us out. I think the Bahamas really needs a boost now, especially with what's happening in the world economy. I've seen a lot of people suffer. I've seen a lot of shops close down. I've seen tourists not coming in anymore, and it's our mission and duty to give the Bahamas the boost that it needs to get back on top.
So many other people here that could represent and take the baton and pass it on and have them be a part of this campaign and continue to send the message out and have the message be loud and clear regardless of where people are listening in the world. They should know about the Bahamas, and I know that if they see and get an experience of it, it's just going to spread more and more like wildfire.
Tourism officials hope to have the first ad completed by the end of the month. Janae Noel Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell says his ministry's investigation into the disappearance of 2 Turkish men is now complete and finds that the men traveled to Grand Bahama with a view to traveling to the U.S. as their relatives reported. But no one is any closer to determining what happened to the men.
Now, the desperate family tried to approach Prime Minister Perry Christie this week and found that he would not give any answers or any truths about the mystery over the whereabouts of those young men who they suspect were lured into traveling by human smugglers who promised them passage into the United States. Carissa Robinson has been following the story for us.
Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell told reporters today that an official letter from the Turkish embassy in Cuba to his ministry concerning the disappearance of Turkish nationals Hüseyin Özkan and Vesi Aral was never acknowledged by officials in Cuba and New Providence. That letter was forwarded to the Bahamas government back in October when the men were first reported missing by the brother and cousin on March 21, 2012. The Turkish authorities have expressed surprise over the apparent lack of communication from the Bahamas government on a matter they are taking very seriously.
Officers who may not be familiar with the protocols as they ought to be, and I think that's really what happened in this case. And so it's inadvertence, and as I said, we issued the appropriate reprimands because anytime some country sends you a note, the very least you ought to do is acknowledge receipt of the note.
Minister Mitchell says a note has since been sent to the Turkish government expressing regret over the lack of communication. As for police investigations into the matter, Mr. Mitchell gave these details.
Relatives said that the men had traveled to Grand Bahama with a view to traveling to the United States. An investigation was done by the Central Detective Unit in Grand Bahama. There was no evidence found after checks with travel-related companies and touristic facilities of any contemplated journey by these individuals. Interpol was then notified of the missing persons. Information from investigations subsequently revealed that the men left from a local hotel in Grand Bahama on a smuggling route via Bimini en route to the United States. The individuals never arrived. When the alarm was raised, both American and Bahamian authorities were put on high alert, but they were never found.
Now, Minister Mitchell says this kind of smuggling trend is a matter of concern that has been raised by many countries over the years. He's warning those involved in this illegal operation that if caught, they will be prosecuted.
There's going to be no assistance rendered by the Bahamas government to help people escape from this of other foreign countries, catch individuals, and want to prosecute them as a result of it, and certainly in this country.
Now, police and immigration authorities are appealing to anyone who may have information they think can help in the case of the missing Turkish men to assist them. The uncle and cousin of the missing men, Raif Gumus, maintains, though, that his relatives are still alive and he believes they are being held captive for their organs. Gumus believes he knows and has even spoken to the people he believes are responsible for that alleged smuggling operation. Charisma Robinson, ZNS Network News.
The Director of Public Prosecutions, Vanette Graham-Allen, has asked a Supreme Court judge to stop the media from reporting any more information on the Jimmy Ambrose murder trial before the case starts May 21st. Graham-Allen's request is based on reports that she read reports in local dailies which she said included information on private legal discussions in court which took place in the absence of the jury. She noted that the court had instructed the media not to report the information, but that they still did in breach of the court order. The public director also noted during today's Supreme Court sitting that the constant rehashing of information in the case and that of the three accused, Stephen Dye Stubbs, Andrew Davis, and Clint Evans, and the way it's being reported in the press has the potential to adversely impact the minds of potential jurors. She noted that the freedom of the press must be balanced with the rights of an individual to a fair trial and the responsibility of the press to publish accurate information. The court is expected to make a decision before the trial opens in May. Well, still to come, the Agriculture Minister encouraging more Bahamians to tap into the multi-million-dollar food production sector.
And outstanding students recognized for their stellar performance. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight in HD.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.